This is Francis Ferrugia welcoming you to tonight's WM Daily News. Thank you for joining us. Monday's press news from Holland covers Friday's report from the Dutch Central Bank on bonuses in the banking sector. De Volkskrant sums up the story on its front page and says bonuses paid to the highest earners in Dutch banks remained more or less the same in 2008 as in the previous year. The DNB calls it singular that bonuses were paid at all in companies which were making heavy losses. Top bankers earned upwards of 1.5 million euros in 2008, were awarded average bonuses of 311% of their annual salaries. The DNB concludes that the risks inherent in the bank's salary systems are not sufficiently under control. In what many may consider sublime understatement, the DNB describes as merely striking the fact that bankers themselves find the present system satisfactory. The report sees the enormous bonuses handed out to merchant bankers as one of the causes of the economic crisis. The paper points out that in the recent voluntary salary code agreed between the banks, there is no ceiling to the amounts which can be paid to merchant bankers. The AD sees the story slightly differently under its headline Joint Offensive Against Bonuses, and says the European Union and the United States are planning to curb bank bonus excesses. It hopes Prime Minister Jan-Peter Balkenende will use the DNB report during the upcoming G20 meeting to push home the fact that there has to be an international agreement to curb bank bonus excesses. The paper adds that it isn't just top executives at the banks who get the extra handouts. The DNB report indicated that bank employees who earn between 100,000 euros and 200,000 euros a year also walked away with an average of more than 10% of their annual pay in bonuses in 2008. The paper quotes Finance Minister Wouter Bos: "Even if no international agreement is made, we will still get one in the Netherlands."
My father grew up herding goats in a tiny village, a possible distance away from the American universities where he would come to get an education. He came of age at a moment of extraordinary promise for Africa. The struggles of his own father's generation were giving birth to new nations, right here in Ghana.
Well, as you can see, that was President Obama speaking in Ghana on the 11th of July 2009, and since his visit to Africa and that country in particular, there has been a determined effort to improve life in that region. Ghana's national electricity company, for example, with its upgrading and expansion of existing lines and building of new ones, have helped to improve electricity supply to residents in most parts of the Greater Accra and the eastern regions, an official said at the weekend. Mr. Bruno Deternu, acting project manager, Accra Eastern Region, said putting up a new 11,000 watts line to link two existing ones serving Ogbojo and surrounding communities in Accra had made the electricity supply situation better in those areas. Mr. Detornu was speaking during a tour of officials of the Public Utilities Regulatory Commission to see how the Electric Company of Ghana was undertaking its short, medium and long-term strategies for improving the electricity supply situation for ECG customers. Mr. Detornu said to meet the increasing demand and improve the quality of supply, there was the need to continuously invest in system upgrade and network expansion. ECG has undertaken projects worth about 54.4 million United States dollars in the sub-transmission and distribution networks. Improvements in the system would allow the ECG to make more money since it would contain system losses. The Dutch oil trading company Trafigura has agreed to pay £30 million to victims of toxic waste dumped in Ivory Coast in an out-of-court settlement, a spokesman for the firm said. The agreement with British lawyers, Lay Day and Company, who represent 31,000 claimants in Abidjan, accepts, however, that there is no link between exposure to the waste and any deaths or miscarriages as was alleged. The agreement was signed late on Saturday night, a spokesman for Trafigura told AFP on Sunday, confirming the deal was worth £30 million. Each victim will get approximately €1,150, the spokesman added. They originally asked for a total of £180 million. In August 2006, the Probo Cola ship chartered by Trafigura dumped caustic soda and petroleum residues on city wastes in Abidjan, having first attempted to offload the cargo in Amsterdam. Ivory Coast has said the dumping killed 17 people and caused more than 100,000 to seek medical help, while the report by a United Nations expert last week found strong evidence linking the waste to 15 deaths and several hospitalizations. Trafigura has always disputed this, however, and its position was upheld in the out-of-court settlement. In a joint statement issued last Saturday, Leyday and Trafigura said that more than 20 independent experts had been brought in to examine the case. These independent experts are unable to identify a link between exposure to the chemicals released from the slops and deaths, miscarriages, stillbirths, birth defects, loss of visual acuity, or other serious and chronic injuries, it said. Leyday and Co., in the light of the expert evidence, now acknowledge that the slops could at worst have caused a range of short-term, low-level flu-like symptoms and anxiety. Trafigura director Eric de Turkheim said the settlement completely vindicates Trafigura. Finally, the producers of Fox's program American Idol are likely asking themselves what they need to do on their show to ever beat CBS's series The Amazing Race and win the Best Reality Competition trophy at the Primetime Emmys. Singing competition American Idol remains the most watched show on TV, and the team behind the show would surely like to cap that accomplishment with an Emmy for the program. But it was not to be on Sunday, as The Amazing Race and its tale of globe-trotting competition again took the trophy, winning in the category for the 7th straight year. That got Jeff Probst, the host of the rival reality show competition Survivor, who won an Emmy for his job on the program, talking backstage to reporters about a possible solution to the Amazing Race's dominance. Maybe Amazing Race should just do what Oprah Winfrey did and just pull themselves out of the competition and say, "We've won enough, our walls are full of trophies, we'll let someone else win," said Probst, whose show Survivor is also on CBS, just like The Amazing Race. Bert Van Munster, one of the creators of The Amazing Race, was not about to take Probst up on his suggestion. Standing backstage with the team behind the show, he jokingly said, "I'm going to have to discuss it with my committee, but it's unlikely."